Hello, Chromies. Nice to be back with you. It's been a little while, but excited to host another episode of the Chromebook Classroom podcast. Hope you're doing well. The school year is underway. I have 5 kids, and this year I have 2 in elementary school, 1 in middle school, and 2 in high school. So, like many of you, we are adjusting to new school schedules and activities and still trying to navigate our way through all of that, balance everything. Not easy. I work from home and we actually homeschool our kids, so the combination of all that is fun. It's the life we've chosen, but certainly leads to some interesting scheduling needs and challenges. It is exciting though. I have my oldest daughter is now driving. Just got her license a couple weeks ago, so we have a third driver in the house, which is good. Hope the school year is going well for you. Some of you have been going for quite a while. You're like, John, I've been in school for almost 2 months now, but for some of you, it's been just a few weeks. So be patient with yourself. It takes a while to get used to things and ramp back up. We're going to get into the links and updates for September 2024. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, what are you waiting for? You can subscribe over on YouTube. I've been publishing these episodes as video podcasts as well. So if you want to see the visual as well as the audio, you can watch on YouTube. And then also, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast app you prefer. For my Android users, Google Podcast is now dead. May it rest in peace. I have been using AntennaPod for my Android phone, which is really great. Lets you do a lot of great stuff, download, listen offline, things like that. So if you need a new podcast app for your Android device, now that Google Podcast is no more, AntennaPod has been working well for me. Also want to express my appreciation to VIZOR for sponsoring this episode. VIZOR's been a longtime supporter of my show. They also support a whole bunch of independent podcasts, which is really great. You don't get into podcasting for the money, but VIZOR's sponsorship helps defer my hosting fees and equipment and things like that. So thank you to VIZOR. If you are managing a fleet of Chromebooks, VIZOR is a great tool, great resource for you to consider. It's going to help you manage your fleet, who has which device, check them out, manage loaners, repairs, expiration dates, disable devices. It's really a great system. So if you are the only person that is managing Chromebooks, you need VIZOR because it allows you to delegate and set up systems for managing aspects of your Chromebook fleet. VIZOR is generously offering 20% off your first year as a Chromebook Classroom podcast listener. So if you head over to VIZOR.cloud/CBC, you can check out that offer and let them know John sent you. So thanks to everybody over at VIZOR for your support of the show. All right, let's dive in to the updates for September 2024. It's been a little while since I did one of these 10 link episodes, so there's quite a bit to discuss and check out. If you're watching this, you're going to see some of these features on your screen. If you're listening, you can head over to the show notes for this episode for each of the links and related information to dive into the details for any of these updates. My goal is to summarize all the latest goings for Google, AI, ed tech tools in general so that you don't have to do the hard work. Let's start out, as it seems we always do, with some AI-related updates. The first one is Google has officially added data protection for school accounts. So Google made this announcement a while ago that they would be rolling out enterprise data protection guarantees to education districts at no additional charge. You don't need any premium license or additional fees for this. This is added, and if you haven't been to Gemini in a while, you might get a little pop-up that looks like this when you sign in next time. Now, what does this mean? When you're using the Gemini chatbot, which is Google's AI tool, with your school account, that means your questions, your queries will not be used for prompt generation, training, or any other purposes, advertising, things like that. So what you type in stays in your account and doesn't go anywhere else. This is, again, standard default feature. You don't have to do anything. Your admins don't have to do anything. It's included to all EDU accounts. It's pretty great. I mean, if you use ChatGPT, you can get this as well, but you have to pay for it. So it's a great option for schools. There is the Gemini add-on license, which we will talk about in a bit. That gives you some additional features, but that is not required for this. So anybody can use Gemini with those data protection guarantees. Google also moved the age requirement down. Used to be, had to be 18 plus. They did lower that to 13 and over. So anybody who's 13 and up can use Gemini based on your school district's need, desire, comfort level with doing that. Personally, I think 13 is a little young. I'm not sure I would introduce AI using Gemini. I think there's some other great tools with some more protections and monitoring in place. Very impressed with some of the features from School AI and Magic School for student use, where teachers can monitor what students are saying, and there's some safeguards built in. With Gemini, ChatGPT, it is what it is. There's no like special student related oversight controls built into it at this time. Now, as you encourage your students to consider appropriate use of AI, Google has rolled out 2 free courses, one for teachers and one for students. This new course is a partnership with Google's DeepMind division, which is their AI kind of computational thinking side of things, and Raspberry Pi Foundation. They've created a series of 6 lessons, kind of a unit on experiencing AI. This is targeted for students in 11 to 14 years of age, so middle school. There's 6 lessons currently. What is AI? How computers learn from data, bias in, bias out, decision trees. There's things in here. So if you teach computer science, if you're teaching some kind of a coding or technology class, this might be an interesting way to begin educating your students on how does AI work? What are the challenges with AI? What do we need to be aware of related to that? Google also has a new course for teachers. This one's been around a little bit longer. You might see it right now. The last time I signed into Google Classroom, there's a banner up at the top of the screen that said, hey, take our free AI course. So this is Generative AI for Educators. The description for the course says, as a teacher, we know your time is valuable. Student needs are broad. With Generative AI for Educators, you'll learn how to use generative AI tools to help you save time on everyday tasks, personalized instruction, enhanced lesson and activities in creative ways, and more. So this is, again, a free course. It's about 2 hours in length that you can take and check out and learn more about using AI as a teacher. So those are a couple of AI-related updates from Google directly. I've got a couple more to talk about. The first 2 I mentioned should apply to everybody. The next 2 won't necessarily apply to everyone, but I want to make you aware of what's going on. Google has rolled out what they are calling gems. Gems are customizable chatbots, I guess you might say, for Google Gemini. Now, this feature requires premium access to Google's AI tools, and you can get that in 2 ways. You can either ask your school to purchase a Gemini for Education license. Those can be purchased individually. You can get 1, you can get 100. Those are $20 per user per month, which is the same price as premium ChatGPT. You can also become a Google One subscriber. So this is for personal Gmail accounts. Some of you are probably already Google One subscribers because you needed the extra storage space for your photos or whatnot. So as a Google One, there's an AI add-on as well. And this will give you access to the gems to test out. I'm going to actually open up my Gemini account. And for those of you who are watching, you'll be able to see this visually. I'll describe it for everybody. Gems are pretty cool. Now, ChatGPT has had these as well. I think they call them custom GPTs. I have a couple of them created. I've been playing around with them. So, when you create a prompt for Gemini or ChatGPT, typically you have to, tell it what persona it is, and you're creating a lesson plan, you're creating a quiz or whatnot. With a gem, you tell the AI what you're attempting to do, and then it remembers it. So I created one as a social studies lesson planner. So the first step is you create this gem and you begin describing, what is your purpose? What are your goals? So for this particular gem, its purpose is to aid in crafting engaging social studies lessons for 8th grade students, align lessons with provided learning objectives, leverage technology, cater to individual needs, ensure lessons fit within a 15-minute class period. And it goes on and on. I mean, it's a pretty lengthy description of this is what I want. These are the types of resources I'm looking for. I want you to emphasize these things. I don't want you to do these things. You train it, and then you can reuse it over and over and over again. And the idea here is you're going to get better responses because you've created this custom chat bot that is responding to your unique needs and specifications. Now, you can do this with the free version. You just have to describe this every single time. With the gem, they can be saved and use them over and over again. And it remembers and it learns and it gets better over time. So I have one set up for social studies lesson planner, kindergarten lesson planner, blog post co-writer, social media helper. So I can give it a blog post that I've written, and then it will write a Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram caption for that post. I'm still playing around with it. Not fully satisfied with the quality of things I'm getting, but we're getting there. And this will get better over time. So these are interesting. Again, this requires premium access, but long term, I think this is probably where AI is headed. So, I mean, things like ChatGPT, Gemini are great, but when it's kind of general purpose, you get general purpose responses. If you want something specifically targeted to you, you're going to need something like these gems. And, over time, I think that everybody will have a custom AI assistant that knows about them, their writing voice, their style, and whatnot. It takes a lot of work to train these models right now, but it'll get easier over time, I think. So that there was link number 3 this month, Gemini Gems, which is a pretty clever name. I have to be honest. It's I like it. One of the few times I've been impressed with Google's naming conventions. They struggle with that kind of thing. All right, link number 4 is another AI tool that I have mentioned a few different times. It's called NotbookLM. This is a Google product, and it is a specific AI tool for learning, studying, teaching resources. So NotbookLM is free. It is a Google product. Right now, it's kind of in beta. It does require an 18 plus terms of service. But what's unique about NotbookLM is you upload your resources and the AI will only respond utilizing the resources that you've uploaded. So unlike a general purpose AI, this is it's grounded in your resources. And I've talked about this before. This is not new. What is new is they've just added audio overviews to NotbookLM. And this is pretty slick. Let me go ahead and open one up and show you what it looks like. I've been playing around with this with quite a bit for different purposes. I've done it as like an English teacher. I actually did it as a baseball coach, put in the rules and asked questions about the rules for my baseball league. I have a notebook set up right now for The Great Gatsby. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up and show you this new audio overview. Now, I did this in advance because it does take, depending on how many resources you have, it takes a few minutes to set up. So in my notebook, I have preloaded the entire work of The Great Gatsby, which is open source, a summary, a study guide, some teaching materials. So I have several documents loaded into my notebook. I can then ask NotbookLM to create a audio overview. And like I said, it can take a few minutes, but here's what it sounds like. I've got it loaded over here in a different tab. And I'm going to play this, and it's pretty impressive, slightly terrifying.
All right, so we're diving into The Great Gatsby.
We are, and I'm excited to really dig into these study guides and excerpts you've got.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to go beyond the whole, Gatsby parties, glitz and glamour thing. Most people kind of remember that more than what Fitzgerald was really getting at.
It's funny you should say that, right? Because what Fitzgerald does so well is he uses that, the extravagance of the time, to kind of like critique the very dream it's supposed to represent.
It's true.
And you got to remember the context too, right? 1925,
Yeah.
America is booming, but there's also this sense of
Just play a couple more
disillusionment
seconds of
after
this.
the First World War.
Yeah, it's almost like a tension there, like those roaring parties Gatsby throws are hiding something darker underneath.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even just
That is pretty incredible. So, I mean, that was created in just a couple of minutes based on the resources that I uploaded. First, I just want to call out the incredibly lifelike conversational attitude of those AI voices. I mean, they have human related ums and pauses and reflections and inflections. It's pretty incredible. I mean, it really sounds like two people sitting and having a conversation. Again, I want to remind you, the conversation they're having, everything they're saying is based on the resources that I have uploaded. It's not just pulling this from random websites, only from the material that I have provided. Now, Google puts its typical caveats in there. It can make mistakes, verify what it's saying, whatnot. But it's pretty incredible. And I can see so many tremendous applications for this. Certainly for students who struggle with written text, maybe they struggle with dyslexia or some other reading disability, being able to hear and summarize that information is really interesting. Rather than slogging through hundreds of pages, you can listen to an audio summary of things. Again, you need to read the whole thing. You need to understand it, but this is a great way to get started or review. Yeah, so I mean, it's really interesting. Right now, it only does general summaries, but in the future, you'll be able to do other things. So let's say I want to create a timeline. This is one of the settings that it offers. So I can say, create a timeline for me of The Great Gatsby. It's going to do that for me. Now, right now, it's written text. It doesn't do the audio summaries of this, but in the future, it probably will. I can create a study guide. I can ask it to quiz me. So write 10 quiz questions based on the information that I've provided. And who knows, in the future, it may even allow me to respond verbally and then give me feedback, almost like a study assistant. NotbookLM is super cool. I have no inside information. So what I'm about to say is pure speculation, but I could definitely see NotbookLM being integrated into something like Google Classroom, where all of the resources you upload to your class would be available for students to synthesize, summarize, and learn from through a tool like this. To me, this is a much safer direction for introducing students to AI than just giving them access to Gemini or ChatGPT. The teacher curates the resources. The AI is grounded in the resources that are provided, not random websites that might get pulled up. So keep your eye on NotbookLM. I'm going to be doing some additional podcast episodes, blog posts, videos on this great tool. And I encourage you to check it out and consider how you might use it this year. All right. I think that's mostly it for AI related resources. Let's move on to a couple of other topics. Google Docs has tabs. This is pretty cool. Now, this was announced a long time ago, I think 6-ish months ago. And it's not officially here, but you can try it out. So I recently stumbled upon a Reddit thread where someone, don't know how it happened, but someone got access to this new feature and discovered that if you make a copy of a document with tabs, you can try it out too. So I made a copy of his document, made some modifications to it, and then you can make a copy of my document if you want to try out what a Google Doc with tabs looks like. Now, let me actually let me just open this up so you can see it visually, what it looks like. And you can make a copy of this to explore what it might look like. So rather than having a massive document with dozens, hundreds of pages, you can separate that document into several smaller tabbed documents. So, for example, I did a science project many years ago. It was the ecology website project. So students were assigned an ecosystem, they were in a group, and they had to build this website. I looked into my Google Drive, and there were, I think, 3 or 4 separate documents that comprise this entire thing. So I was able to take those 3 or 4 documents and combine them into one. So you can see I have a Google Doc opened, and on the left side in the margin, typically this is where you get kind of the outline. It says document tabs, and then tab 1 is the introduction. Tab 2 is the rubric, so they know how they'll be assessed. Tab 3 are the guidelines for the ecologist. Tab 4, the botanist. Tab 5, the zoologist, the environmentalist. So I was able to combine 5 documents down into one and assign this entire thing through, Google Classroom. So this just really has some wonderful potential implications, applications for the classroom. I can see so many different possible ideas. For lesson planning, you can keep your standards, learning objectives, lesson plans, activities, resource materials, a science teacher, supply lists. I could keep those all in one document. Portfolios, you could use Google Docs for portfolios. So every tab is a different assignment, activity. English teachers might be able to take advantage of that. Group projects like the demo I just showed, every group member has a separate tab for their work. And this helps minimize complications due to editing at the same time, 2 people working in the same area, overriding each other. Now they're on separate tabs, which makes things a little easier, even for parents. And I'm experiencing this right now. So my kids are attending twice a week. They go to a co-op with a bunch of other kids. And I'm experiencing what it's like for parents who have students using multiple learning management systems and instructions for teachers. It's very overwhelming. Every teacher has a different way of communicating and whatnot. And it would be great if we just put everything into one central location and just added to it over time. So that could be a great, the tab documents would be a great way to do that. You can begin testing and experimenting with tabbed documents. If you go to the blog post that I wrote, again, I'll put a link in the show note for this episode, and then just click on the blue button, copy demo document with tabs. Then you can make as many copies of that for your own purpose. I do not have any timeline on when this will just be generally available and just work straight from Google Drive. I think it'll be pretty soon. And the nice thing about this, this is not a premium feature. Anybody can use it. Doesn't require any special access or workspace license. This is a feature for everybody. Let me know how you're using tabs, or if you have any good ideas or examples of tabs in use. I posted this to my Facebook page, which is very active. I love connecting with people over there and hearing ideas. And one person indicated that this is very similar to OneNote. She reluctantly admitted that she was really liked OneNote, even though she's in a Google school, because OneNote has tabs and the ability to curate things into one location. So she's like, I am totally in on this. It'll allow me to use Google more effectively, like I've been using OneNote. So yeah, love it. Check it out. Let me know what you think. We have a Google Classroom update coming up next. Google Classroom now supports student groups. Now, this is a premium feature, which a lot of teachers are frustrated about. So we've always had the ability to assign something to an individual student, and you could pick multiple students and call it a group, but there was no way for that group to be persistent, meaning the next time you wanted to assign something to that same group, you had to remember and manually select them again. Now in Google Classroom, if you are using the Teaching and Learning or EDU Plus licenses, subscriptions, you will have an option in your Student tab that says Group. You can create up to 100 groups for reading groups, math groups, group projects, discussion groups, whatever you like. And then those groups show up when you assign something. When you typically get your little student selector, the drop down looks something like this here. So those of you who are watching, we have our student tab, new group option. You can create as many as you need to. And then when you're creating an assignment underneath the student drop down, you'll be able to select individual students, everybody, or one of your groups. So students can be a member of as many groups as you want. You can create up to 100 groups. Now, one thing to be aware of, if you change the group membership after you've assigned something, it does not change access to the material. So if I put a student into group 1 and I assign something to group 1, and then later on I move that student from group 1 to group 2, they're still going to see that assignment for group 1 because they were in group 1 at the time. So it could cause some confusion. Best practices, don't change people's group if you can avoid it. But this will be really nice for those of you who use a lot of group projects. This will make things a lot easier to manage in your classroom. Students do not know which group they're in. So if you needed to create a group for some kind of accommodations or modifications, that is completely transparent. Nobody sees that except for the teacher. I have a video on this that you can check out if you want to learn more about groups, a blog post as well. Now, if you are not a EDU Plus or Teaching and Learning school, you can still use the old method. So when you're in classroom, you have the student selector. You just have to click 3-4 kids. They're in a group, and then write it down. So put it on a sticky note, drop it in Google Keep, and then the next time you want to assign something to that same group, you just have to look up, the members of each group and whatever note that you took. So there is a workaround for everybody. To me, this does seem like something that Google could have rolled out to everyone and not restricted it to the premium districts only. Moving on to update number 7. You may not have heard about Google Vids yet. VIDS, Google Vids. This is Google's newest AI, kind of AI tool. It combines elements of Google Slides and video creation. So I'm going to grab, I created my first Vids project, and I'll pull it up for you. My wife and I recently took a little mini vacation to Vail, Colorado, and I had some extra time. I was like, I'll create a short little video highlighting our trip, and decided to explore Google Vids in the process. So I've got it pulled up on the screen. This is what Google Vids look like. Now, this is currently in beta. You do need to be an EDU Plus district to access this. There's a regular version and then an AI enhanced version. It looks a lot like Google Slides, but it has elements of maybe Video, Adobe Express, Canva video editor as well. So we've got, your timeline at the bottom. It's pretty standard. The menus are identical to Google Slides. But what is cool is over on the right, you have this little toolbar that lets you access various forms of media. So they have a lot of templates. They have a link to access Google Photos or images and video from Drive. And then they have a lot of stock media. So they have stock video, stock images, stock music library, which is very good. This is wonderful. A lot of you are using like Canva. That's why it's so great. If you're making a video on polar bears, I can get 8,000 pictures of polar bears. Google Vids gives me that. Slides doesn't. That's kind of an area where Google, I think, could improve, is giving access to more stock license content. Vids has that. It'd be interesting to see if Google rolls any of the features of Vids back into Google Slides. Don't know. Just speculating there. It's good. It's good. It's didn't blow me away. I didn't have any real big technical issues. It's a little bit slow. There's a lot of media happening here, but overall, I thought it was a pretty good, polished first attempt. It's a beta product. I'm going to go ahead and push the play button and just let this play for a few seconds. Show some of the transitions and things. There's a bunch of AI features built into this as well. I was not as blown away by the AI stuff. I thought the stock video was awesome. AI stuff, supposedly you can describe what you want and it'll get you 50%, 80% of the way there, which I did not quite find to be the case. All right, it's not loading in Vids itself. I'll play just the finished video. So this is it on YouTube. One thing that was interesting was AI Vids. I think we'll hear it here in a second. You put in whatever text you want, and it reads it for you. And the
Manor Vale Lodge is right in the middle of Vale, so you can walk to everything. The rooms are super nice. Think mountain chic with fireplaces and balconies. They have a pool and hot tubs to relax in at the end, a mountain hike, plus the views are amazing.
So that voiceover was created by AI. You just type out whatever you want, and it records it. That would be great if you have students who don't want to record their own voice, or, frankly, just the logistics of a noisy classroom make it really hard to record good, clean audio. So the AI Vids voiceover might be a better option for recording that audio in the classroom. I'll explore Vids a little bit more. It is not currently available for everyone. It's in beta for early testers. So I think it'll probably be next fall before it rolls out officially to everybody. Now, my next link is really interesting and a little awkward because I need to remind you that Jamboard is going away. So this was announced last year, I think January, something like that. Jamboard is being discontinued, and right now it's read only. So you shouldn't be able to create any new jams currently. On October 1st, your existing jam files will be converted, I believe, into PDFs. So I would strongly encourage you to look at your Jamboard files, if you have any, and figure out what you need to do with them, whether that's converting them into Google Slides, or my recommendation is FigJam. FigJam has a very good conversion tool that will just pull your Jamboard files into FigJam and let you interact with the content from there. It works very well. It's great. If you're not even sure, convert them to FigJam and then figure it out later, but you're going to lose that ability after the October deadline. Now, the reason this is awkward is because I just talked to you about a brand new Google service, Google Vids. Well, at one point, Jamboard was a brand new Google service as well. And I am hearing from an increasing number of people, and it's hard to argue, that are really nervous about investing time and energy into new Google products because Google has such a track record of ruthlessly killing them. May Google Reader rest in peace. I don't know what to tell you. I'm equally frustrated. Google gives and they take away. So we'll have to see. There really isn't anything like Jamboard in Google's portfolio. I mean, Vids and Jamboard are nothing alike. You can't compare them at all. But, how long will Google be interested in Vids? Are they going to lose interest and get rid of it 2 years from now? Those are legitimate questions. Unfortunately, I don't have any answers for you. Time will tell, I suppose. Well, I've got 2 final resources for you, and these are a little more fun and exciting. These are both discoveries from 2 different educators that I follow. The first is called GenType. And this was discovered by my friend Jeremy Badiner, who teaches in Michigan. Jeremy always has great things on his blog, which I'll link to in the show notes for this episode. Let me open up GenType. It's super, super cool. If you are a font person, you are going to love this. GenType is a Google Lab, which is an experimental Google feature. It is an AI feature that generates essentially a custom font based on whatever you want. So it's going to create an alphabet. So it says on the screen here, what is your alphabet made out of? And I like baseball. So baseball, bats, balls, and related equipment. I click generate, and then this tool is going to generate every letter in the alphabet built out of bats, balls, and related equipment. I had to do it again because I had to sign in. You click generate. It takes a few minutes for all the letters to generate, but it's kind of cute. Elementary teachers, I think you'll enjoy this. It's great for any kind of creative things where you want to be a little outside of the box thinking. So it's creating the alphabet. I've got the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, all made from baseball bats, helmets, and related, elements. Once the alphabet has been created, you can then type out a sentence, and it will write that sentence using the picture letters that it's generated. So actually the cover art for this podcast episode, if you saw it on YouTube or your podcast player, the ABC in that image was created with GenType. So I've got my alphabet created. So I'm going to write play ball, and it generates that sentence, that phrase, using the letters that have been created. You can save that as an image and then put that into Canva, Google Slides, whatever tool you're using. So Jeremy, thank you for that discovery. Super cute. Check out that, especially if you're a font person. You will enjoy playing with GenType. Our final link is called Gear Sketch, and this is courtesy of Brad Dale, who writes on the Time to Talk Tech blog. This is an interesting way to have students explore gears and how gears work. So you open up Gear Sketch. It's a blank white page. Now, I have a touch screen, so this works quite well. I'm just going to draw a circle on my screen, and then it turns that circle into a gear of the same size that I drew. Now I'm going to draw a smaller gear and then a medium-sized gear. So I've got 3 gears, and now I'm going to drag them to connect them together. And then I'm going to indicate the direction that gear is going to turn. And there's one other thing. If I draw a circle around the whole thing, it puts like a belt around them. And then when I'm ready, I press the play button, and it will show the speed and the rotational direction of those gears. So this is kind of a fun physics STEM type activity, and then you can continue adding different gears, connecting them together, see how they turn faster, slower. So just a really fun, simple way to explore STEM and engineering using technology. So I love simple sites like this. I mean, it's dead simple, requires absolutely no training. Just send this to your kids and be like, explore some gears. This would be a fun free time activity, perhaps. So thank you, Brad, for sharing that on your blog. And I try to read as many blogs and skim Twitter as often as I can to find these cool things that I can pass on to you. If you are not on my email list, I encourage you to join the Google EDU update, where you'll get a monthly email with my favorite links, all the direct links that we've talked about in this episode. You can visit the show notes for this episode to sign up, or you can visit chrm.tech/update. So chrm.tech/update and sign up. And once a month, you get those updates there. Thank you once again to VIZOR for supporting the podcast. If you're interested in improving the management of your Chromebook fleet, head over to vizor.cloud/CBC. You can save 10% or 20% off your first year. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope the school year is off to a great start. I'll be back here next month with more tips and tools that you can use in your classroom.